Yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit of a stop-start sort of June for us, with sort of a break and then playing and then a little bit more of a break. But it's been giving us an opportunity to sort of really focus on ourselves and I think continue to learn. We're able to take some of those learning lessons and go against Chicago, and then again, another little bit of an extended time to just kind of focus on ourselves, and now preparation for a bit of a busy period starting with New England. And again, I think New England is the best compliment I can give New England is they're a very difficult team to play against, both with and without the ball. They have some attacking players that can really hurt you, and they are really stingy on the defensive side, so just trying to find ways to create goal-scoring chances. Going to New England is always a difficult place to play. They in addition to them being a well-coached team, it's difficult to play against. So we expect it to be a traditional Eastern Conference sort of battle, but I think the guys are up for the challenge.
Thanks, Coach. We'll start with Corey and go down the line, and go and ask 2 questions if you have them.
Coach, I know before the season there was talk about wanting players to be more individually creative in the attack. Do you feel that that's something that's grown kind of as the season's gone along and guys have gotten more comfortable and confident?
Yeah, I mean, I think for what we try to create is we try to have a really structured way of how we go about things, and also a real structured way on how we want to play. And from structure, we believe that allows creativity and individuals to express themselves. No structure and a lot of creativity is sometimes chaos, and we want to stay away from that. And I think the team itself has really is really detailed in the way that we want to play, the structure of how we want to play, and then from there, I think you see a lot of individuals having freedom and creativity to put their stamp on our games.
Yeah, we've seen the huge year that Sam and Hani are having. How much of that is directly related to what Andy Nahar has brought to you out of the back? I mean, it seems like he has set them up repeatedly.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, I look at it from, we have a very clear way we want to play, and a lot of that's built around trying to get players to be put into the best positions of themselves. That's how we view ourselves as coaches, is to bring the best out of players. And collectively, you can see a lot of guys making an impact, especially, on goal contributions, Andy being one of them. And then, guys like Sam and Hani are on the other end as beneficiaries of it. But collectively, we look at it that as a byproduct of the collective work that everybody's doing. Everyone will get a chance to sort of, make their statement on the goal sheet. And right now, Sam and Hani are doing a great job.
Hani's been a great player for a long time in this league, but how much, when you walked in, did you talk to him about being, I guess, a full field player, both sides of the ball, being a little bit better defensively, and how much has he jumped into taking that role? That maybe the numbers aren't quite as eye-popping offensively as a few years ago, perhaps, but maybe he's an even better overall player right now?
I mean, when I came in, we started talking about everybody's going to attack and everybody's going to defend. So it's not a specific conversation with one player. It was a mentality across the board of how we're going to do it. And I would say specifically to Hani playing, I think he's someone who is a student of the game, is constantly looking to improve himself, and has taken and become much more of a well-rounded player. And you can see that without the ball, his pressing, him and Sam leading the line. With the ball, whether it's making goal contributions or just getting our attack from, the back third into the final third. So I think, tremendous credit for him in the way that he's continued to develop himself. But it's under the umbrella of what we talk about here, is that the requirement to be a Nashville player is that everyone's going to attack and everyone's going to defend.
Coming in midstream last summer, obviously it's hard to do everything you want to do immediately, but have we seen over the last month and a half what your vision actually was for this group? How close are you to what you want this team to be at this point?
No, I mean, I don't think we get caught up in looking at that. We've been talking about just turning the page every day, and we stick with how can we just keep getting better, doing what we do, and elevating the way that we play. If I'm being completely honest, I think we're just scratching the surface. It takes a while to get everybody, up to speed and playing exactly how we want to play. But really happy with I can say that we're really happy with the progress that we're making, but at the same time, we know that there's still elements that we need to continue to improve if we want to really achieve great things here at Nashville.
Ben?
Yeah, BJ, you talked about just what you expect from New England. Obviously, Caleb Porter has been around MLS for a long time. He's won an MLS. I just wanted to ask specifically about the change in formation. It seems like they shifted to a back three, and that kind of kick-started their form for them. What have you seen from them kind of in that shape?
Yeah, I mean, Caleb's a championship-winning coach, so it's I think all good coaches are able to make adjustments, and again, through the lens of trying to bring out the best of his group. There was a lot of turnover in New England off of the season, from last season to this season, in terms of players. So it was just a matter of time until you knew that collectively they were going to figure it out. And I think again they've been in a good run of form, and they're just hard to play against. And that is, I think a lot of sort of from the structure that they've been able to build is that they're difficult to score goals against. That gives them a chance in every game. And then they have some real attacking talent. I mean, Carlos Gil's an all-star level type of player and has been in this league. And then you just continue to add Campagna and all of the guys that they brought in. So for me, I think that's been a really good change that he's probably made up there. And the proof is in the results.
And then you've talked all season just about how important it is to have competition for places. And it seems like in the last few weeks, Matt Corcoran has really started to kind of earn more minutes than we saw in the first half. Just what have you seen from him that you liked recently, and what are you kind of hoping to see from him over the second half of the year? Yeah, I mean, Matt's been a great, I would say, story for us this season, which is a player that we were able to sign, a young player, 18 years old, and is probably mature beyond his years of that. And for us, it's a player that first and foremost is brave and wants the ball. We're a team that wants the ball, so we need players on the field that want the ball. And then he's continued to develop can he play the ball forward and connect those forward type of passes. And then I can't talk about any player without talking about without the ball. And he's a guy who covers so much ground and maybe isn't the strongest in duels, but if you look at the way he intercepts balls, plays in passing lanes, screens in front of the back line, I think he's making real positive contributions when he gets on the field, and that's how you continue to get on the field more often.
Patrick?
Yeah, BJ, with Sam growing up in England and being at the academy with Forest, how has that translated, you think? Because there's not a lot of guys who've come from England to Major League Soccer, at least at this stage in his career. How do you feel like that's translated for him and the style that you wanted to play this year, to a different kind of background than maybe what you would normally see in this league?
Yeah, I mean, I think you see Sam comes from a highly professional environment, and then he comes over to Nashville, and again continues to be a really good pro. The way he prepares, the way he studies the game, the way he works after, you can see that he's been instilled to kind of be motivated for his career. But I don't really see it any different. I mean, he's it's still a player that has a specific profile as a forward, and it's our job to bring that out. And in the flip side, it's his job to kind of perform at that high level and be adaptable as well. And I would say that's the greatest compliment I can give him, is that it's not easy to come over from a different culture, a different league, a different whether you want to say like through a different system, coming up through a different system, and he's been embraced it, welcomed it, and has found ways to adapt as well, and find ways to make an impact on our team.
You talk about specific profile. Has that meshed with what you thought you were getting with him when you first got here, now that you've worked with him?
I mean, I didn't come here with any expectation of what I thought. Sam, my job is to connect with these guys and talk to them and build relationships with them, and through building a relationship with Sam, and I think I've said this many times before, studying him when he was at Forest and playing in a tandem with Brendan Johnson, some of his best times was there, and so it's our job to sort of learn about him as a person, analyze him as the profile that he brings, and put him out on the field and try to set him up for success. And if we're able to put our players in good positions, I know that their quality will take over.
Lauren?
Coach, when it comes to the kind of union, I guess, of Sam and Hani up top, what do you think is the key to two tenacious attacking players making that work, kind of being a two-headed monster instead of like a two-headed problem per se, with tension. If it were to go the other way, well, how does that work so well?
The first way it works is you need a good supporting cast. So, there's a really good group of guys here that play behind, on the field, play behind them because they play up top. That again, that make great contributions, and they've been the beneficiaries of sort of kind of that ability. And then the second point is selflessness, and that's a value that we have here, inside our organization, that the team is the star. And, for that, you're going to, individual accolades, individual recognition will come when the team is successful and really buying into that. And credit to those two guys on, I would say embodying that value that we have. But overall, it's that the team is the star, and there's a lot of guys making contributions. But in this sport, we know the ones that score the goals, end up getting more of the notoriety. But internally here, we're proud of the work that the collective group is doing.
And you mentioned you think the group has just only scratched the surface. How do you continue to maximize the club from where they're at right now?
Yeah, I think for us in general, it's continuing to improve in the areas that we need to improve through phases of play on the field and getting better. The things that we do well, we want to be better at, and the things that we need to improve on, we at least want to make some marginal gains at it. Additionally, we want competition in the squad. I think competition at this level brings out the best. And as our season has unfolded, we've had lots of contributions from a lot of players. And as we started the second half of the season and going to continue through, especially with a bit of more schedule congestion coming here at the end of June through July, more guys are going to get called on and have expectations put on them that they're also going to contribute. And from that, I think pushes the whole group forward.
We'll go to Jacob Shames on Zoom.
Yeah, BJ, you've talked in the past about using each time you play teams a chance to evaluate, some specific part of your team. Or Amherst, for example, you played Red Bulls in the first game, you didn't adapt to their pressure well at first, but, did a lot better, obviously, the second time against them. I guess what similar things maybe did you take away from the season opener against New England that you can take into this Wednesday?
Yeah, I think for us, when we played New England, there was a lot of ideas that we were happy with in terms of, the principles that we work on and sort of the tactical shape that we were working on, but it was game number 2. And, so I don't know how much translates necessarily, like, from the last time we played New England till now, with so many months, and the teams are just so much different and so much more well-developed. But for us, we know that when we go to New England and we want to play them, that we've found across the games that we need to be ourselves. We need to stay true to how we want to play. It's a team that wants to be aggressive. We want to be controlled in the way we're the aggressor, but we definitely want to be the aggressor no matter home or away. And it's just another chance for us to kind of continue to improve that.
And you've gotten to serve as an in-studio commentator for the Club World Cup the recent weeks. I guess what's that been like for you? Just getting to analyze those games and serving that role.
I would say 2 ways. I think I always had an appreciation for the other side of the business, the media side, but maybe I have a greater one now. There's a tremendous amount of work that goes into, one, just producing a 90-minute soccer game, but also sort of all of the coverage that you guys do. That I have a great appreciation for how much goes into it, not just whether it's one interview or one column or a 5-minute segment on TV. So that was really good for me to see, an opportunity for me to learn and grow. And also there was a nice moment to sort of, on our off day, disconnect a little bit from Nashville and study some of the best teams in the world and have to look at it in an in-depth way. So I would say from a personal side to maybe I wouldn't say I turned my brain off. Maybe I just turned one part of my brain off and turned another part of my brain on. It was, it was nice to kind of get back and analyze games that aren't our Nashville games and being involved in that day to day.
John Glenn.
Hey, PJ, I think my question is probably very similar to what Lauren asked earlier, but I was going to ask, you know, in Sam and Hani, you've got two guys who are sort of alphas and naturally expect to be kind of the main, you know, the focal point of the attack and so forth. Wonder if there's a balance that is struck sometimes, or if you've talked to them, that, you know, both guys can still thrive in a successful team as we seem to be seeing this year.
Yeah, again, I think it starts with the environment that we create here, you know, and like with Lorna said, that, you know, we have a value that's selfless. We have an anchor that we call together we are better. And so when that's the starting point, everybody's on that same page, then, you know, individual people will shine inside the, you know, inside the system. And I think they realize that we're trying to be aligned behind a vision that's greater than ourselves. And so one person is not going to get us there. Two people aren't going to get us there. The whole group is what's going to, you know, get us to achieve these lofty internal expectations that we have. And so again, it's a continued process of trying to learn, grow, get better, and at the same time bring their best qualities out. And our job in the environment is to bring their best qualities out, but at the same time, their job is to bring each other's best qualities out.
Anything else, John?
Just maybe to pull.
Okay.
What's that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, just going to follow on that. You know, the fact that I think both of those players have already scored as many goals as they did last year. Biggest attributing factors for you in that, is it system, is it personnel, is it personal development? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I would first start with, certainly their personal development. These guys work every day at getting better, whether that's tactically, whether that's making contributions without the ball, or obviously, you know, the end product of finishing. So, you know, a lot of the credit goes from there. And then secondly, it's the collective group, right? It's knowing how we can create situations to set up guys to then get the ball into the attacking players, and then how can we get the attacking players in as many opportunities to score goals. And eventually, at that point, we all stop, and the guys that score goals have to make the final play. But if we can create a lot of them in the game, and we can repeat the type of actions over and over again, it gives them more repetition, and ultimately gives them more opportunity. And then they take the most. They take they make the most of their opportunity.
Any others in the room?
Just a quick question about the weather this week. Do you use it as a chance to acclimate because you got no choice, or do you have to rein it in a little bit so your guys still have some juice left?
That's a great question. You definitely have to acclimate, right? There's no way around it. We've definitely sort of tweaked the way that we're training with the idea to continue to still get the intensity out. So whether that's, you know, changing a little bit of the time that we train, or how long we're on the field, or maybe they're liking how we give them maybe longer breaks. But it's important. It's really important to make sure that they're hydrated, and make sure that when we call on for the intensity, we can get it, and at the same time, not losing focus that we need maximum intensity, maximum effort on Wednesday night, not Saturday night. We'll need that too, but Wednesday night.